Yeah, I'm just going to let that sit there for a sec. I take no joy in this, honestly. I don't, because it means a lot of people are going to lose their job who don't need to. But yeah, the Q4 numbers just dropped about an hour ago. I just got the link from my stock about an hour ago. I haven't had a chance to really go over these yet because I was asleep. But here we go. Tankers already covered these, and a couple other people have already covered these. They are not good. And it's not a surprise, and it shouldn't be. But what is a surprise is how bad it is. We're looking at an over $1 billion drop between December and now. $1 billion have somehow lost. And they're projecting a $750 million loss between now and this time next year. So that's a ton of people who are going to lose their jobs, probably starting tomorrow. Sadly, none of the people who are going to lose their jobs are the ones who deserve to lose their jobs. The people who are making the decisions regarding Power Rangers, the people who are making the decisions regarding Transformers, and the people at Wizards of the Coast who are making the decisions about D&D or Magic. Jeremy Crawford's probably not going to lose his job, but we will check the Hasbro Help Wanted sites in just a sec. Hasbro jobs. Maybe we're wrong. But yeah, it doesn't look good. Stock is closing at $51, which considering this news isn't great, but it's not as bad. There's going to be a lot of business numbers. So yeah, they were expecting to make about 2 million, and they made about 1.29 million. So that's not good. Losing 1.6 billion, or 7.64 per share in the last quarter. So between Q3 and now, Q4, Q1 starting tomorrow, 15% drop. And where was the drop the biggest? Pretty much everything but digital. Again, like we saw in Q3, the only thing that's making them money, Baldur's Gate, Monopoly Go. A lot of the people are saying that, Wizards of the Coast, because digital gaming, except Baldur's Gate 3, Monopoly Go aren't done through Wizards of the Coast. So you can't say, look how well D&D and Magic is doing. Wizards of the Coast is doing. It's like, no, guys, that's not Wizards of the Coast anymore, remember? Wizards of the Coast does Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. That's it. Magic the Gathering, of course, shows profit because there's no way it can't show profit. It's pretty much pure profit, right? D&D, on the other hand, probably not as good as some people would have thought. The job site is loading. Here we go. We'll see what they're hiring right now. As we go through this. So is there any way to make these numbers exciting? Because it's really, really boring. So in the past, I've shown pictures of kittens. While reading through this as sort of a way to deal with this. So I'm going to just turn off the sharing here and go over here and give you something to look at while we go through these numbers. Oh, no, the kitty. It's hard to be angry when you look at those faces. Okay, the full 2023 Hasbro year revenue declined 15%. Wizards of the Coast down 10%. Entertainment down 31%. Consumer products down 19%. Digital gaming plus 10%. Opening loss $1.539 million, including the $1.3 billion non-cash goodwill and intangible assets charged with the loss of one E1 film. Yike. Business. Numbers. Adjusted operating profits of $477 million, which shows a margin of 9.5%. including non-recurring inventory costs. Reported net loss of $10.73 per share, or about $220 million. They reduced inventory by 51%, including a 56% decline in consumer products. So 51% less stuff is moving off the shelf. Sold E1, paid $388 million in cash dividends to shareholders for a full year, reduced debt by $506 million. So that's good. Their operating cash flow of $726 million positively, because of course they just fired a whole bunch of people. Consumer products down 19%. Transformers up, G.I. Joe up, Furby up. Interesting. But still showing a minus 2.2% loss between where they are last year. Here's the one for all you people who, still holding on hope that D&D is doing well, and Wizards of the Coast is the golden egg, with the exception of Monopoly Go, Magic, and Baldur's Gate 3, which is not Wizards of the Coast anymore, technically. Digital is up 10%. Tabletop revenue, only through Magic the Gathering, made about 1% of the profits. Operating profit declined 2%, an operating profit margin of 36.1%. Thanks. So that's all basically Magic made money. Nothing else did. It's kind of reading like D&D broke even in 2023. Considering how much money they lost in the crash and how much money they lost from the beginning of 2023, but we've already gone over that. So in the total year, unfortunately, for those people who are wishing doom and gloom on D&D, it's not as bad as a lot of people would like. More people at D&D are going to lose their jobs, unfortunately, because it still did not make the $1 billion that Hasbro expected them to make. In fact, it lost them. Unfortunately, the people who are going to get fired aren't, Kyle Brink or whatever. Revenue decline of 31% in entertainment. Operating loss of $1912 million, compared to the cost of $23 million, showing a loss of $1,846 thanks to selling of E1. Selling E1 lost them money. Adjusted operating loss of $46 million compared to the operating cost of $83 million in 2000 due to the strikes and stuff like that. So again, numbers, business. Break this down as best as I can to English. The entertainment did not make them as much money as they would like. In fact, they lost money. They lost a lot of money on the sale of E1. They took a huge hit on the sale of E1. They took a huge hit with the $3 million, $30 million that, Sentai gave them to do the 30th anniversary, 20th anniversary Power Rangers thing, the Power Rangers Cosmic Fury thing, and that lost them tons of money. Transformers did better than people thought, so that's good. G.I. Joe did well. That's amazing. The G.I. Joe had a good year. Furby had a good year. I'm not sure why Furby had a good year, but it did. So that's cool. Congratulations, Furby. All right. Q4 revenue declined 23%. The only thing showing again, profit. The only thing showing increase 7% digital, which compared to where it was in Q3 is not that great. But they lost 25% in consumer and 49% in entertainment. So once again, it is digital and Magic that is carrying Wizards. And technically, Wizards doesn't do digital anymore. All right, that's a different group. It's bundle. See, I don't know if you remember this, but they restructured. Remember, they restructured about 2 years ago, and Wizards of the Coast is technically part of the digital division. So that's when a lot of people say, "Look how much money Wizards of the Coast made because of Magic the Gathering Online." Well, no, it's not Wizards of the Coast. They're just part of the same chunk. so they can roll that in. And, for the people who are, saying how well Wizards of the Coast is making them that much money all the time. And that's not technically true. Wizards of the Coast didn't make that much money. The entire umbrella of digital and Wizards of the Coast did. But the video game department, Monopoly Go, Baldur's Gate 3, that was all money that they made. That showed the growth, but that's not Magic the Gathering growth, and that's not Dungeons and Dragons growth. So when people say, "Oh, look how much money D&D made them compared to the rest," you guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, that is not true. So just again, to remind you guys that, showing a Q4 loss of $1,199,000, and a total operating loss of $50 million. Net share loss of 7.64 per share. Stock closes today at $51. It is $74 less than where it was this time 6 months ago. Company outlook for 2024. Revenue down up to 12%. Operating margin down anywhere from 4 to 6%. Wizards of the Coast revenue down 5%. Decline largely driven by second half licensed digital gaming. Operating margin down 38%. There goes your job, hopefully, Mackenzie. Entertainment down $15 million, including the 60% loss they took from E1. Total adjusted Hasbro money down $1 billion to $925 million. So at this point last year, they made about $1 billion. Now they're starting Q1 2024 with only $925 million. That's not good. They're looking to project an increased midterm gross about $750 million, but looking then, of course, to also have it pull out at the end of 2025 with a loss. Blah, 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 blah. Business. Numbers, math. What's that mean in English? Again, it means a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And nobody who really, and if they're saying, "Oh God, please fire Kyle Brink, please fire Mackenzie, please fire Jeremy Crawford, please let Chris Perkins go, please let the guy who decided to do Cosmic Fury on Hasbro go," those are probably not the people who are going to lose their jobs. The people who are going to lose their jobs are the one who are actually doing the real work, unfortunately. The people we don't want to lose their jobs. And that goes throughout the company. It's not just Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons that saw a loss. It's toys that saw a loss. It's entertainment that saw a loss. They're investing a lot of time and energy in digital. And while it's still showing a profit, it's not showing the profit that they wanted. So they are projecting a $740 million loss between now and February 14th of 2025. All right, let's see how things are looking at the job potato thingy. Careers. We are on the careers search jobs. Okay. It's not organized. They've changed the way it's organized, but let's go to see. Looking for software engineers, marketing managers, game design managers, producers, senior producer. They're looking to replace the senior producer. Who's the current senior producer of Wizards / Dungeons and Dragons? I believe that used to be Jeremy Crawford before he gave himself the new title of head D&D architect. Head D&D architect. You got to love a guy who gives himself his own title. I'm no longer the senior producer of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm now the head Dungeons and Dragons architect. Crawford hasn't architected shit in years. But okay. Software. Gaming, senior gameplay animators, brand manager. They're looking to hire at the Austin office. Anybody remember the fact that Wizards of the Coast has an office in Austin? You never hear about the Wizards of the Coast Austin office. You always hear about all the bad news, all the bullshit comes out of the Wizards of the Coast Seattle office. And if you think we forget that there's an office in Austin, Texas. And apparently that office is just like, hiding in the corner going, okay, if we keep our mouth closed, they won't notice us, and they'll just keep looking over at Seattle, right? Shh, 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 quiet, shh. Yeah, I think that's the. So yeah, they're looking for a new brand manager at Austin. Senior environment artist, video gaming thing. Senior tools engineer, video gaming. Principal AI engineer, video gaming. Lighting artist, video. Looking for a new account support representative. I don't even know what that means. Senior site merchandiser, video gaming. Merchandising the sites. That's probably the D&D Beyond VTT plans for the pay to win shit. Engineer, artist. Looking to replace who's in charge of global supply. Well, global supply just took, what was it, a 17 million loss? Of course they are. Production specialist, print innovation and collectibles. I don't even know what that does. I don't think that's a real job, but they're looking to hire that one. Software. They're looking to hire a digital D&D senior games rules specialist. So, do you think you have the wherewithal to be the senior games rules specialist for digital D&D? Digital D&D, mind you. It specifically does say digital D&D, not regular D&D, not your D&D, not my D&D. Digital D&D. Managerial stuff, digital. Looking like they're looking to hire their director of business analysis. Well, I guess they did a really bad job. Looking to hire a new game designer, manager. I think that's Kyle Brink's job, isn't it? Did more video game stuff, more video game stuff. Video game. Software developers, blah, blah, blah. Game engineer, archetype. Game engineer, animation, senior rendering engineer, lead game and play animator, principal rendering engineers, blah, blah, blah. All right. So it does seem that while a bunch of people are going to lose their jobs in the physical aspect of Hasbro Wizards of the Coast, notice that all these jobs are wizards. These are all people they're looking to replace in Wizards. Only a few of these are Hasbro. I would say that 80% of these jobs are Wizards Digital, or Wizards, or D&D, and 10% of these, 20% of these are Hasbro. So these are all Wizards. Hasbro looking to replace a lot of behind-the-scenes people who do things you and I don't understand, like analyst logistic planning, industrial engineering, back-end software engineer, and apparently they have a plant in China and Poland. I didn't know they had a plant in China and Poland. Hasbro Poland. Okay, not good news. I don't wish ill will to all the people who are going to feel the hammer tomorrow because of these numbers. And if anybody out there who's going to be gloating and like, ha, you deserve it, Hasbro. That's just what a horrible thing to say. I don't want anybody to lose their jobs or get hurt or whatever, simply because we don't like the direction they're taking the company and the product that we love. There are better ways to handle this situation. And for anybody who's going to say, ha, look at all the money Wizards made, D&D is doing fine. You old farts don't know what you're talking about. That is 100% untrue. As we see from the numbers, Wizards only showed a profit and only digital, and that's not Magic the Gathering Dungeons and Dragons, guys. So again, the part of Wizards that is technically showing the profit, where they can say, see, Wizards is showing a profit, that's not the building. That's nobody in the building where Kyle Brink and Mackenzie and those guys work. All right. There's none of the D&D people, none of the Magic the Gathering people. They have their own building. And they didn't have nothing to do with the profit. That's all digital. It's just the digital department at Magic the Gathering all fall under the same part of the umbrella in the Hasbro family tree. So Wizards of the Coast can say, look, we showed a profit. And people who are in the industry can say, look, Wizards of the Coast showed a profit. And, the D&D shills can say, look, see, D&D showed a profit. D&D is doing fine. When in reality, no, D&D actually lost them money. Any of the money Wizards of the Coast made is Magic the Gathering. Once again, they're showing a D&D loss of 7%. Once again, a D&D loss of 7%. So from 3 months ago, D&D has cost them 7% of the loss that Wizards is showing. Wizards is down 30% from where it was 3 months ago, and about 60% from where it was a year ago. And that's not Magic, and that's not D&D. So suck it. D&D is not doing well. Unfortunately, people, people who should be losing their, not that, and I don't want Kyle Brink to lose his job. I don't want his family to suffer because he's an idiot. There are people who can do the job of mentoring 5e, mentoring Magic the Gathering, mentoring the interaction between the fan base and D&D better than the people that are in charge now. They should Kyle has said he can't wait to leave. Let him step down. Jeremy Crawford doesn't do anything, and it's pretty obvious Chris Perkins doesn't want to be there. So let them step down. Let them do something else. As we've seen, D&D on 5e under Mike Merles between 2014 and 2019 was making bank, doing so well because they understood the market. 5e after Mike Merles, 2020 to now, a continuing downgrade of money. But it's not all D&D's fault. Don't just go, ha, 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 D&D is costing you money, Hasbro. You deserve it for being stupid. No, it's also they dropped the ball on Power Rangers, as we're seeing in the numbers with consumer. They dropped the ball on video games. They took a huge loss on losing E1. Between what they paid for to get E1 and what they sold E1 at, there was a huge loss. And we're seeing in the jobs that they're looking to hire that, again, everything's going digital. Everything's going towards the VTT for the video game, for the digital D&D Beyond, which is weird because they just, made Foundry the official VTT, which seems to say to me that the VTT is not ready yet and probably won't be ready when they said it was going to be ready. So expect them to focus on other things, and just more people are going to lose their jobs by Friday. I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Yeah, no, these are just, I take no joy in this. I'm not somebody who's going to go, ha ha. Look at Hasbro. No, people are going to lose their jobs, guys, and that sucks. Let's see. Is there anything else we missed? No, that's pretty much it. It's just numbers, business. Down. Stock is closing today at $51.33, down $73 from where it was this time 6 months ago, down $96 from where it was this time a year ago. Hasbro showing a 2023 loss of over $1 billion. In fact, between December 15th and today, they've lost $1 billion. Literally, from where they ended Christmas till now, even after slashing so many jobs, they're still showing a $1 billion loss. And yes, She's absolutely correct. People who no fault of their own will lose their jobs. But Crawford probably won't lose his job, though it does look like they're at least thinking about it. Kyle Brink, Mackenzie DeArms, the Connie Changs, the idiots who are mismanaging D&D won't lose their jobs. The idiot that decided, let's send the Pinkertons over to that guy's house. Let's release these cards that nobody can play. All the bad decisions that were made about Magic, that probably the guy's not going to lose his job. The guy whose decision it was to greenlight Cosmic Fury, which was awful. And it's like, hey, let's end the franchise with this totally awful show that does not in any way, shape, or form embrace the legacy of Power Rangers for the past 20, 30 years. Yeah, that guy probably won't lose his job. Companies are not social engineers. They need to stop this stuff. Yeah, they do. They need to get back to making money and focusing on their target audience. And we talked about this today in the previous video. When it comes to D&D, the people that Hasbro is aiming D&D towards is not the target audience. The people that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are gearing Magic the Gathering for are not the people that play Magic the Gathering. The people, the target audience that they geared Transformers Earthspark for, the target audience that they geared Power Rangers Cosmic Fury for, were not the fans. And it shows in this loss. So take no joy in this, the Garabys and the Gregs and the Genie Ds who are going to say, look how well Hasbro Magic the Gathering did. Look how well D&D did. D&D's fine. No, it's not. Know your customer base. And the numbers, you don't believe me, the link's there. The numbers speak for themselves. D&D showing a loss. Magic the Gathering showing a loss. Toys showing a loss. Digital is the only thing that went up, and it only made them only went up 7%. Where was it in December? 14%. So digital is showing a 7% loss, and they just shut down another video game. We just read that today. So yeah, just wow. And I'm sure we'll have more news tomorrow, and it won't be good. And I'm sure it'll just be mismanaged and mislabeled. And by the end of tomorrow, people will be blaming it on Wizards or blaming it on me or something. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just sad. It's like the Rolling Stone putting on a concert but playing polkas. Like a rolling stone. Still no mas. Yeah, that sounds like a Weird Al should do that. Rolling Stones polka. It's a great thing to end it on. Yeah. Yeah, because I can't. How many times am I going to say what I just said? I'm going to just keep repeating it over and over again. But at the end of the day, we end Q4 with Hasbro losing money. Huge, record huge, ridiculously huge amounts of money. And we look at Wizards of the Coast, and for the most part, Wizards of the Coast losing money. And from where it was this time last year, it's just done. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones playing polka. Like a rolling stone.